Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Shop Safeway's brands and get high-quality essentials for low prices. From Signature Select, Lucerne, and O Organics, you can save more on your favorites. Get started at Safeway.com or in the Safeway app. Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
The longest-running rodeo in Colorado almost lost one of its stars, a bull named Sauce Boss, also known as Twinkle Toes to some around the town of Snowmass. It hightailed out of the rodeo grounds last week. The four-legged fugitive spent 5 days hoofing it through the streets before it got corralled. Sauce Boss will be back on the saddle soon, and you can see him in action at the Snowmass Rodeo. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. Coming up, your chances to get a subsidy to buy an EV are fading fast.
Dealers have been bundling together incentives to offer leases as cheap as $19 a month, but those deals are almost all already gone.
Then, a small town is making a big purchase, and it could change where you ski next winter.
Under the agreement that was just signed, all 700 employees of Eldora would become Nederland employees.
And a theater has been an artistic oasis for rural communities in the San Luis Valley.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe this kind of storytelling exists in this place.
They're celebrating 60 years, and you could be a part of it. It's Thursday, July 10th. Here's the news in Colorado today. After months of negotiations, the town of Nederland announced that it has signed a letter of intent to buy Eldora Mountain Resort. CPR's Sarah Mulholland has been following this story. Sarah, what's the latest?
So Nederland is actually closing in on purchasing Eldora Ski Resort. The current owner put it up for sale last year. Powder bought Eldora in 2016, and they're selling it because this is part of a plan to sell some other ski resorts as well, because they're trying to focus on other things like a concession contract with national parks. So under this agreement that was just signed, all 700 employees of Eldora would become Nederland employees.
Oh, wow. That would be huge, especially because Nederland is a pretty small town, right? There's only 1,500 people there, which actually, in that case, how are they going to finance the deal?
So the purchase is going to be financed by selling municipal bonds, and those bonds will be backed by Eldora's earnings. So that means that taxpayers won't be on the hook. So all of the money to pay off the bonds will come from lift ticket revenues, equipment rentals, anything that Eldora brings in. Nederland will also be seeking out grants and private sector partnerships. And town officials estimate that Eldora could generate sales tax revenues of $1 million to $2 million annually for the town. That money would be reinvested in infrastructure like streets, sidewalks, and water systems. And just to make sure the deal goes smoothly, the transition goes smoothly, since obviously Nederland isn't in the business of operating ski resorts, Powder is going to stay on for 2 years to smooth that transition process. And also, Nederland is partnering with 303 Ski, and that's a coalition of ski industry veterans, and they're basically consulting with Nederland to help run the resort.
So it sounds like there's a lot of partners involved in the venture. What will this all mean for skiers and riders?
In the near term, it won't mean very much. Eldora will stay on the Icon Pass, and that's to help ensure stable and predictable revenue. And with Powder there during the transition phase, hopefully it will go through, without any hiccups.
How about local businesses? How are they feeling about all of this?
Well, Dwight Dubrow, he's with that group 303 Ski, but he's also a small business owner in Nederland, and he's excited by this opportunity. He says that when a town and a mountain are aligned, great things can happen for the community.
So why did Nederland want to purchase a ski resort in the first place?
Well, since purchasing Eldora, Powder has made a lot of upgrades. They've updated their snowmaking equipment, their trail systems. They've expanded parking. They've added the Caribou Lodge, which is the new home of Ignite Adaptive Sports. So according to Netherlands town administrator, with all these improvements and then also Eldora's position as being so close to Denver and being the only Colorado ski resort that's served by RTD, it just really gave the town a good reason to put in an offer. It just got a lot going on.
CPR business reporter Sarah Mulholland. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If you've been thinking about buying or leasing an electric car in Colorado, you should know that the state and federal money to help buy EVs is disappearing. CPR's Sam Brash is here to explain what this could mean for buyers and the state's environment. Sam, what exactly is happening to electric vehicle incentives?
Okay, so we got two big things. The first one is President Trump's new budget bill. It scraps federal EV tax credits starting October 1st, so that's less than 3 months away. The federal government currently offers thousands of dollars on a new or used EV. The second thing is that Colorado is cutting its rebates, but it's not eliminating them entirely. So right now, Colorado offers a $3,500 tax credit to discount the purchase of a new EV that's scheduled to drop to just $750 at the end of the year.
Oh, wow. So then what discounts will stick around?
A couple discounts are going to stick around. Colorado offers an extra $2,500 rebate if an EV costs less than $35,000. That's meant to help make sure that entry-level models are more affordable so less wealthy drivers can afford a battery-powered car.
Which are cheaper, I imagine, than operating a gas-powered car.
Yeah, exactly. Way lower fuel and maintenance costs. The state thinks it's important that those benefits aren't just going to luxury car buyers. The second big benefit that is sticking around that's not going anywhere is the vehicle exchange program. This gives income qualified buyers, so less wealthy buyers, again, $6,000 off of a new car, but only if they trade in an older gas-powered vehicle.
Okay. So for anyone keeping score at home, how many incentives are going away?
Yeah, I recognize that this is a lot to keep track of, and we have a very convenient table laying all this out at CPR.org. But right now, a Colorado resident, depending on their income and if you're trading in a gas car, can qualify for up to $19,500 in discounts on a new EV. By next year, that'll be down to $9,250.
Wow, so a $10,000 difference. So these deals have contributed to an EV boom here. I mean, you've reported that Colorado is a top adopter, neck to neck with California. So what's happening now that the incentives are going away?
We've already seen sales drop a little bit. In early 2025, 20% of new cars sold in Colorado were electric cars. That's down about 5% from late 2024, and it probably dropped even further this spring. Matt Groves is the head of the Colorado Auto Dealers Association, and he says there's probably a couple reasons for that.
One, there's less money on the table for consumers. Two, as a result of federal actions, manufacturers are redirecting their assets as to where their future production is going to go, right? They're just not going to build as many electric vehicles if the economics aren't there to sell them.
In other words, even if Colorado wants more cheap EVs, car makers might not build them if there's not enough demand nationwide.
Interesting. So do we know which EVs are seeing a drop in interest this year? I'm curious if it's Teslas or cheaper cars.
Yeah, Tesla sales haven't been doing great in Colorado or across the entire country. In fact, in the first quarter of this year, Nissan was the top-selling EV brand in this state. That's largely because dealers have been bundling together incentives to offer leases as cheap as $19 a month for cars like a Nissan Leaf. But those deals are almost all already gone as these rebates shrink and disappear.
Yeah, $19 is incredibly cheap. Is the state trying to replace the lost federal incentives, or is it just the fact that the state doesn't have the money to do that?
The state is looking at a pretty severe budget shortfall, but the short answer is maybe. These incentives were always meant to wind down over time. But State Rep Alex Valdez is a Denver Democrat, and he told me he's considering one idea for the next legislative session. That'd be a bill to put a new fee on oil and gas companies to increase the state rebate and make up for the loss of some of these federal subsidies.
Now, Colorado's emphasis on EVs has been intended to help cut emissions and improve the ozone here in Colorado. Is it too soon to talk about how these changes could impact the environment?
So transportation is Colorado's largest source of climate warming emissions. Governor Polis has made EVs his main strategy to cut that pollution, and he set a goal to have 1 million EVs on the road by 2030. Colorado was already off pace to hit that target, and if state and federal incentives shrink, it seems even less likely that that'll happen.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you, Arlo.
A small mining town that has played a big role in Colorado's professional theater scene is celebrating its 60th season.
We don't have any stoplights. We don't have a Target or a movie theater. People had to come here on purpose and stay here on purpose.
Emily Van Fleet is the artistic director at Creed Repertory Theater, which is somewhere in the vast area between Telluride and Alamosa, near not much anything else.
One of our core values is grit, because anybody that works here or comes here understands that, like, doing art at 9,000 feet requires a certain amount of chutzpah, I guess. Just like you have to work a little harder for it. And that makes it all the more beautiful for our audiences to step into the theater and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe this kind of storytelling exists in this place.
Right in with the harem.
The what?
Oh, no, it's just a joke, a name. Pickering's harem, it's a compliment.
If you're a concubine.
We just picked the best is what we mean.
It's peak season right now, from May through September. The town of less than 300 swells with actors and theater goers seeking out a one-of-a-kind experience.
I'm always a little nervous. You know, being this isolated is not for everyone. And we do have talent that comes from big cities, New York and LA. And I'm always very pleased when I can see it in their eyes. They just get hooked.
The Creed Repertory Theater also works with rural communities in the San Luis Valley.
For our Young Audience Outreach Tour, which is a bilingual musical, it's a new musical every year that goes out to students in rural communities across the Southwest. It sees up to 40,000 students a year.
But while they were celebrating their big anniversary, they also learned that federal funding cuts mean that the Creed Repertory Theater will lose out on $20,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts for this work with young people.
Because the programs are no longer in line with the new NEA priorities.
Which Van Fleet says is a big blow to kids who don't typically have theater programs at school.
I went to one of the Young Audience Outreach Tour performances in a school with 300 kids, and the minute a line of dialogue in Spanish is spoken, you see many of these kids who are English language learners lean in, they look at their peers, their eyes get wide, and they're excited and they feel seen and they feel like they belong and this story is for them, and that is hugely impactful.
Despite funding cuts, the shows at Creed Repertory Theater go on. Their 60th season, on stage this summer, includes Silent Sky, a play about a trailblazing woman astronomer.
We go to blackouts.
You can see Silent Sky and all of this season's performances in Creed through September. And for more with Van Fleet, check out the Colorado Matters podcast. And if you're looking for something a little closer to the Front Range to do this weekend, you can check out the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Festival in Colorado Springs. It starts tonight with film screenings, continues tomorrow with an event at the plaza in the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum, and admissions to the museum are free on Saturday and Sunday. You also get a chance to meet Olympic athletes like Brian Boitano, Misty May Traynor, Picaboo Street, and Peggy Fleming. Hey, thank you for listening to today's show. Additional reporting came from CPR's Ryan Warner. Remember to follow Colorado Today in your podcast app. I'm Arlo Perez Esquivel. This is CPR News.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Credit Union of Colorado. With access to over 30,000 ATMs and a mobile app, they're dedicated to offering the services of a big bank with a heart. Learn more at honestlygood.org.
Support for Colorado Today comes from Safeway. Shop online and get $30 off your first online order when you use code SAVE30 at checkout. Get the same prices, deals, and rewards as in-store. Get started at Safeway.com or the Safeway app.